We are now going to wrap up our chapter on graphing quadratic functions by um, number one, summarizing the techniques that we have learned so far by using a graphic organizer. And lastly, we're going to look at another form of quadratic function and study how to graph it. Towards the end of the folder, before you do your lesson practice, you will see a screencast that shows you how to write quadratic functions that satisfy certain conditions. Here is a graphic organizer that you could use to summarize the techniques for graphing quadratic functions. Make your own copy so you can write down notes as we go along. I'm going to discuss the different types of quadratic functions one by one. And to begin with, let's review the parent function. We said last time that we have to memorize this table by heart. -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. This is 4, 1, 0, 1, 4. So if you're given a monomial because it only has one term, f of x is equal to ax squared. So what's the very first step that you have to do? If you remember last time, you began with a table of values, right? And after you have identified the value of a, all you need to do is you multiply all the y values by a. So the a value is the constant that comes with x squared. So if you remember, you created a table before in which you kept, adding a column depending on what you need. So you can add another column here for ax squared, which is pretty much the y values here multiplied by the a value in the function. So remember, your y is the same as your x squared. So when I say a times x squared, it's the same as multiplying the y values by the given constant a. Also, the value of a causes your graph to either concave up or down. And last but not the least, it could cause a vertical shrink or stretch to the graph of the parent function. So those are the most important concepts that you have to know if the given function is monomial. So what if the given function is a binomial? So we're now looking at binomial quadratic functions. So again, we begin with your table, right? You have your x here. You have your y is equal to x squared. So just like what we did previously, you keep adding a column depending on what you need. So first, you have to multiply first. You have to follow the order of operations. So if a is 2, then you multiply all the y values by 2. So this one will be your ax squared. And then once you have found all the values of ax squared, then you're going to add c to your previous column. So this is where you're going to do your ax squared plus c. Alright, so let's write down the steps. Well, first, you multiply y values by a. Okay, so that's this column. And you multiply the y values by a, that's your ax squared. And then after, you add c to the previous column. So in other words, whatever value you get under ax squared, you're going to add c to every single one. So that's the last column here. Now let's review the transformations for c. The c value causes the graph to transform vertically. So it's either a vertical translation upward or downward, depending on the sign of c. So that's for a binomial of the form ax squared plus c. You use a table of values and apply the changes to the original values by following the order of operations. The next one is for trinomials. And they are of the form f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, there are two cases here, if you remember. The first one is if the trinomial is factorable, then you have to use f, r, a, b, where f means you're going to factor by using the techniques you learned in the previous chapter. You're going to find the roots or zeros by copying each factor and making it equal to 0. And then you're going to find the axis of symmetry, which is actually, halfway through between the roots. And then you're going to find the vertex. There you go. So I gave you a formula for the axis of symmetry last time. It was x is equal to negative b over 2a. Then once you have the value of x to find the vertex, you have to plug in x to find y. Okay. But what if it's not factorable? So if not factorable, if it's not factorable, then you have to follow the following steps. Find the vertex. And how do you do that? You follow your x is equal to negative b over 2a again, and then plug in to find y. So plug in to get y. And then once you have that, you have to use pretty much trial and error. You have to use a convenient point. Use convenient point, which is usually the y-intercept. The y-intercept. So when I say the y-intercept, you plug in 0 for x. So 0, comma, whatever the y value is. Okay? So you're going to plug in 0 in the equation to find the corresponding y value. And once you've found one point on either left or right hand side of the vertex, then use symmetry to find its partner on the other side. Okay, so that's for trinomial quadratic functions. Now, last but not the least is when you have the vertex form, which is the f of x is equal to ax minus h squared plus k. So since the vertex is already given, you start with that. The vertex is h. Remember, you have to do the opposite of this one. And then k. H and then k. There you go. Ah, that's sloppy. Okay, then once you have found the vertex, you have to use points immediately to the right or left of vertex. Immediately to the right or left of vertex. There you go. And once you have found one point, use symmetry to find its partner on the other side. Now, if possible, So this is optional, but if possible, find the y-intercept also. Okay, but this is optional. Alright, so those are the techniques so far. However, let me just make it clear that if you're going to stick with just one method that works for all, always remember the formula x is equal to negative b over 2a. For any type of quadratic function, whether it's monomial, binomial, factorable, or not, this works for all. This works for all. So that means once you have your axis of symmetry, you're just going to plug in to find y, and once you have found the vertex, then you could just do trial and error to find a point on the left or on the right. So it's like the jack of all trades, for quadratic functions, because it kind of works for all. So if you can't memorize all the different types and the most convenient ways to graph them, then you can do this method. Just memorize the formula for the axis, plug it in to find the vertex, and use trial and error to find points on the parabola. Okay, so I hope that helped you summarize the things we have learned so far. In the next task, you will learn one more method, okay, for graphing quadratic functions. So make sure that you record this method on your graphic organizer as well, so you can use it as a reference.